morning, everybody. Happy Friday. Cool. Good to see you all. So, Fridays, for those that are new, are entirely committed to breathwork. And the breathwork technique, or the pranayama technique we've been going over the last week or couple weeks, is Bastrika pranayama. So, bellows breath. You're essentially learning how to inhale as powerfully and as deeply as you can, and simultaneously exhale as deeply as you can. And what's going on is you're hyperventilating. You're intentionally lowering the CO2 levels in your body to create an internal experience that tends to be deeply meditative. It can also, and usually is, very, very intense. It's sort of stress provoking. And so there's one really simple sort of step in logic that helps us rationalize why we would want to spend the time hyperventilating and stressing ourselves out. And it can sometimes sort of bring up, bad memories or traumatic memories, because that's how sensitive our brain or our minds are to the conditions of our body. But the step in logic is, it would be more adaptive and is more adaptive if we are sensitive to peace and tolerant of stress, right? So if you imagine someone who is ultra sensitive and attuned to tranquility, specifically the tranquility that comes out of their own body, and at the same time ultra tolerant of stress signals coming out of their body, they are essentially immune to the ups and downs of their nervous system. And in that, they are more likely to make powerful, coherent decisions that aren't affected by the signals coming out of their tissues. And so this is sort of the ideology behind and the value behind playing these games. And so that's one thing. The second thing, just to catch those up that haven't been here, we've been discussing a philosophy called Indra's net of jewels, which essentially is, the metaphor is, there's a metaphorical net cast upon the physical plane of existence. The physical plane of existence is this net, and at every junction point of the ropes, there is a jewel. And essentially what this means is everything is a jewel in the manifest experience of life. Everything is beautiful, everything is interconnected, and everything sort of glitters with the influence and the soul of every other thing. And so what this means practically is that when we can behold every grain of sand, every event, anger or sorrow, every mountain, every cloud, every day as a jewel, we're in a fairly powerful meditative state, and more than likely you're opening yourself to the unfolding of time in a really sort of beautiful, romantic, meaningful way. And so if we can adopt this metaphor and use it to impose that sense of beauty into ourselves, we're better off. And so the test is, after we do all this breath work, after we hyperventilate, after we test our bodies and pull ourselves forcefully into this meditative zone, the theory is, because our consciousness is enriched, we should be able to perceive the metaphor in a more sincere way. So that when I cue you to think of life's beauty, while more than likely you can always do that in some respect, after the breathing, after the event of your meditation, it should hit you harder. And it's a very simple exercise, but for me it tends to always prove itself, and in that validate the overarching sort of themes and ideas of yoga. Cool. So that's what we're going to work on. So we're going to do some variations of bellows breath, some variations on how to hyperventilate, how to drop our CO2 levels. And at the end, I'll cue the metaphor, or I'll describe the metaphor of Indra's net of jewels. And we should all be sitting there in a very personal moment, really savoring the beauty of the day, simply said. And so we're going to attempt to do 4 rounds of bellows breath. The first 2 will be through the mouth, and the second 2 will be through the nose. The value of breathing through the mouth is you're exchanging more air, and in that the shift in CO2 levels is more dramatic. You're pulling a lot more oxygen in, you're pushing a lot more CO2 out, and so because your mouth is a bigger sort of wind tunnel, the CO2 levels drop. There's a lot more air exchange. The value of breathing in through the nose is twofold, just so you know. As you inhale through the nose, you sort of siphon nitric oxide, which only exists in your nose, and that dilates your blood vessels. So it primes your circulatory system for respiration. But the second is more physical, and it's just sort of an interesting detail of the body, how physical our system is. As you breathe through the nose, because your nostrils are much smaller, there's a lot more pressure in the sinus cavities. And because of that pressure, literally, blood is being pushed into the smaller tunnels of the capillaries. And so by breathing through the nose powerfully, you really start to sort of feed blood into the smaller zones of the circulatory system, and in that feeding more of the body, again, by breathing through the nose. Cool, so let's get some examples. The first 2 rounds will be a mild, moderate intensity, and the second 2 rounds will be a maximum intensity. And so if you just want to look at me, I'll perform both techniques through the mouth and through the nose, just sort of in conjunction. Spine is tall. The key word in terms of performing the technique well is volume. Your lungs have a certain capacity, and you want to exceed that capacity. So I always think 105, 110% volume with every inhale. Mouth is very open. Mouth will get dry. Throat will get dry, but that's okay. It feels like a yawn. And now I'll do the same thing through the nose. Mild intensity, really moderate speed. And you can tell if you're sort of monitoring the time that the inhale through the nose takes a little bit more time, because my nose is a smaller airway, and so it takes more time to pull the same amount of air in, or more time to pull in the same amount of volume. And so now, maximum intensity, just pay attention to how your nervous system responds to like the image of me hyperventilating. And so the effect is immediate. I'm like lightheaded, my body is tingling, I'm a little disoriented. So, you just want to monitor that. And if at any point you seem to start losing control on your own, regardless of how long we're practicing the technique, on your own, just exhale, hold your breath, and give your body the time to rebuild its CO2 levels, which will sort of equalize the situation. Again, one more time through the nose, just pay attention to how your body responds to the image of me hyperventilating. All right, and so one little detail, my nostrils are sort of shuddering, and you might find that one nostril collapses or another nostril collapses as you start breathing through the nose. One, you might have a deviated septum, so the solution is surgery, but you can sort of just override that or choose to breathe through the mouth. But the second is your sinuses might be clogged, unbeknownst to you, and the solution to that is neti pot. And so this is a favorite sort of cleansing technique of yogis. You just need a neti pot. You need to sort of funnel water, salinated water through the nose, and it cleans out the sinuses and really opens up the airways to perform these exercises. Cool, so that's that. Let's just consider all of this deeply, deeply physical until the very end. Happy Friday, happy pranayama, and let's get into this. Strong seated position, wrists resting on knees. Tall spine, really tall spine. And as your wrist rests on your knees, straighten your arms completely. Bring a random finger to each thumb. And so just consider that your mudras, one finger touching the thumb, your mudras are ornamental. Now, straightening the arms and the spine is practical. There's a reason. Notice often there is a rejection of this instruction. A spontaneous, I don't want to do that completely. And so this rejection of the instruction is spawned by the sympathetic nervous system. It's a stress response. Your body's trying to conserve energy. And it's suppressing a physical display of confidence. It's not trying to provoke anything. But as you override that stress response and choose, despite your thoughts, to straighten your arms and sit up tall, the consequence is confidence. And so savor that. That is Shakti. Be perfectly still. Breathe deeply into the stomach. Work to feel your body. Work to negate your day. Disconcern yourself with your routine, with any worries or any problems that might be sort of present in your life right now. You make the pilgrimage into a deeper space. And we'll spend the next 2 minutes here just honing into ourselves. If at any point you recognize ordinary or extraordinary peace, out of nowhere, just by sitting down, if at any point you recognize that peace, bring your hands to heart center and appreciate it. If peace does not arise, not a problem, just keep your wrists on your knees. Slow down your breath. And so consider peace is always present. All phenomena are simultaneous. In every moment, there is sorrow within us and there is joy within us. There is insecurity within us and there is confidence within us. In every moment, there is peace. It just depends on what we're paying attention to. That determines the constitution of our reality. But if you slow down your breath, you will enrich that experience of peace. Alrighty, hands to heart center. Appreciate your peace or the absence of peace. And notice when you recognize the truth of your reality, let's say there is no peace. I admit, I confess there is no peace. And you come to terms with it. Peace. Thumb knuckles to third eye center. Symbolic movement. Just notice that you are aware of the presence or absence of peace, but really feel your awareness, and that you could be aware of anything. A fly buzzing around your ears, the temperature in the room, peace or no peace. Fixate on the awareness. Wrists back to knees, nice straight arms. And so back to the opening discussion, it would be adaptive to be hyper attuned to peace and hypertolerant of stress. And so these breathing exercises will promote stress and in that encourage tolerance of said stress. And so just be prepared for that. Start to deepen your inhales and exhales just through the nose and feel what it's like to exaggerate your breathing. Notice right away there's a surge in wakefulness, a surge in alertness, a surge in confidence. All right, now exhale, breathe normally. Open your mouth and start to breathe in and out slowly through the mouth. And you're just feeling what it's like to breathe through the mouth. The mouth gets dry, the throat gets itchy. Some key points with the mouth is you want to relax your jaw and open your mouth as much as possible. You know, we're all raised with a certain etiquette. We all embody a certain civility, and, you know, sitting around with your mouth completely open runs against that. And so don't be insecure or weird about an open mouth. It's all practical. You need as much air coming in and as much air coming out as possible. Okay, mild to moderate intensity. Take a full breath in through the mouth. Feel your belly and chest swell all the way up into the collarbone, something like a yawn. And as you exhale, empty your lungs through the mouth. We have 2 minutes here. Timer has started. And so the word is volume. Every breath in, try to breathe in 105, 110% volume. Maybe there's a little pause before you exhale to feel the bloatedness in your chest, and then there's that full exhale. Keep the mouth as open as possible. Volume, volume, volume. And so every inhale comes with that surge of wakefulness and that surge of alertness and a sense of speeding up and quickness. And so these symptoms are all expressions of your sympathetic nervous system, your stress response, churning. And so they're good signs. Now pick up the pace slightly. Pull the same amount of volume into your lungs in less time, just a little less time, shaving off seconds. Look out for tingling, buzzing, lightheadedness, dizziness, maybe a little disorientation, or conversely, a hyperfocus. And so this means the CO2 levels are dropping in your blood. Oxygen is being funneled into the body. Again, good signs. Exhale, hold the breath. Empty all of the air out of your lungs. And without breathing, fixate on the physical sensations. Notice that they feel sort of good. They are intriguing. And now breathe normally through the nose. It would be adaptive to be attuned and hypersensitive to peace. And so notice peace in this moment as your body returns back to homeostasis, normal levels of oxygen and CO2 in the bloodstream. Alrighty, it would be adaptive to be hyper-tolerant of stress. And so you're going to perform the same technique now through the nose, mild to moderate intensity just as before, but notice that it takes more time to inhale fully. Start now, keep the mouth shut, inhale deeply through the nose, the belly swells, the chest swells, full exhale. 2 minutes here. Purely physical. Again, the key word is volume. Feel the belly and chest swell in 6 directions. As you breathe in, you expand forwards and backwards, left and right, up and down. Every breath in comes with that rise in quickening, that surge in alertness, wakefulness, confidence, and maybe a little stress. Deep, deep inhales, 105, 110% volume. Like you're yawning through your nose. All right, now pick up the pace slightly. And so that means the same amount of volume in just a little less time. You might be holding your breath after you inhale. You might be holding your breath a little after you exhale. That's fine. Now notice the symptoms. CO2 levels dropping, tingling, buzzing, lightheadedness. This is all the effect of blood migrating from the skull into the body. Exhale, hold the breath, push all the air out of your lungs. Straighten your spine, straighten your arms, provoke that confidence, and now breathe normally. It is adaptive to be sensitive to peace. And like all phenomenon, they exist simultaneous to one another. There is always peace, we just have to recognize it. So feel it now, take a couple breaths. Now open your mouth, start to breathe again through the mouth. Disregard civility. And so we're going moderate to maximum intensity, meaning you're feigning an anxiety attack. You're breathing wildly. You're pulling in as much air into your lungs as possible in as little time as possible. So feel free to lose a little bit of control. Think ferocity. Start to breathe in deeply through the mouth. Mild intensity, just like we started, will build up into the extreme expression. Mouth completely open. And so think about speed. Start to increase the speed of your breathing, but don't sacrifice the volume. Start to breathe more and more into the chest. And so for me, it always feels like the transition from jogging to running to sprinting, but you're jogging and running and sprinting only through the lungs. Volume and speed, time starts now. If you ever feel like you are too disoriented, exhale, hold your breath on your own. It is adaptive to be tolerant of stress. So fixate on the volume. You're still trying to breathe in 105, 110% volume. Very physical, just in less time. Keep the mouth open. At this point, the nervous system is firing. At this point, there may be insecurity. At this point, there may be fear. At this point, there may be confusion. All right, exhale, hold the breath. Hold the breath. Tingling, buzzing, vibratory sensation. It feels good. Feel it the way you would smell a flower. Feel it the way you would feel perfectly cool water on your skin. And now breathe normally. Sensitive to peace. Last round, best round. Start to breathe more powerfully through the nose. Start at a mild intensity. 110% inhale, nice and steady. 100% exhale. And so you've started the jog. Same volume, but a little faster. So you start to run through the lungs. Already the nervous system is aware of what you're doing. It's starting to release adrenaline, and that's affecting your thought process. Maybe a little insecurity, maybe a little resistance. And so your mind is changed because of the constitution of your body. That's just good to know. Now full sprint. When you're ready, timer has started. Just 1 minute here. Ferocious, uncivilized, wild, and powerful. Good work. Keep it going. It's just physical. It's just like being in a spin class. Instead of pumping your legs, you're pumping your lungs. Pay attention to the volume. Try to increase the volume. More than likely, the volume has decreased. 10, maximum intensity. 9, no insecurity. Have fun with it. 8, 7, 6, enjoy being crazy for 5 more seconds. 4, 3, 2, full exhale, hold the breath. Straighten your spine, straighten your arms. That creates confidence. It tells you you are in control. Keep holding the breath. When you need to breathe in gently. And so this is the philosophy of pranayama. I'll leave you with this. That tingling sensation is prana to yogis. Even though it's chemistry in the blood, literally, that sensation was prana. And the more of that sensation you had in your body, the more conscious you were. So prana and consciousness, or chit, are positively correlated. So with more prana, more tingling sensation, and more consciousness, you can look deeper into the truth of the world. And in that, you would understand the philosophies of yoga more sincerely. They would hit you. And so this is the philosophy. Every atom Every object, every event, every thought, every object of the world is a gem. It is beautiful. It is created through some mysterious force. Within it, it contains the mystery of existence. And to behold life in such a way is better than not beholding it in such a way. And so what I'd like you to do is consider that you are such a sacred object. That you are the evidence of life as miracle. You are the consequence of an inexplicable mystery. And the fact that it's so familiar, yet so unknowable, makes the whole thing even more profound. And so for your final breaths, behold yourself as the central gem in Indra's net. Slow down your breath. And feel the reality of the metaphor. Behold yourself with explicit wonder. Hands to heart center, increase your sincerity. Notice that you are uniquely concerned with yourself. Not to improve yourself, not to enact yourself. You're uniquely connected to yourself as you are. You are within yourself. Thumb knuckles to third eye center. Soften your face and become aware of the fact that you are cognizant of yourself. Pay attention to the awareness of this moment. And so the layout of yogic spirituality is that this awareness is the light in the center of this gem. This awareness is what illuminates and enables every gem to glow. Awareness is good, awareness is powerful. Take one more breath, registering that, feeling it. Bring your wrists back to your knees, tall spine, straight arms. Listen to the world around you. Everything a gem, everything interconnected, everything complete and expressive of the whole. With an inhale, open your eyes and try to maintain that mental appreciation. Try to behold the ordinary in an extraordinary way. Just a couple meditative breaths here with the eyes open. Beauty everywhere. Mystery everywhere. Blink your eyes, wash it away. Completely ordinary state of mind now.